Mr. Oda O Dragon seems to like his hot dogs scorched. What's up, dudes and dudettes in the internet? My name's Seth, and we are back again for some more Trove. And yes, that's right. Today we're actually going to be taking a look at the Panda Mounts in Trove. These mounts are pretty difficult to get just because of the simple fact that they are an adventure mount that you end up actually grinding out of the adventurer's crafting table. They're going to be right down here. There's 11 of them that we're going to go through today. And they actually cost a Panda Talisman, which is rarely dropped from U8 enemies in adventure worlds and everything like that. Just in U8 anywhere, it doesn't even matter. U8 and U9, it's going to be a random drop, kind of the same as all the other idiots that you end up getting out here, like the rats and everything else. But the big thing is that, let me actually show you a little peek here. This is just the price on the PC anyways. I don't know what it is on the console. They kind of look like rats rather than pandas, but in either case. The big thing, though, is that the Omni-style unlockers that are supposed to, specifically, their function is to unlock all of the different mounts that you can end up crafting, adventure chest mounts and stuff like that, as well as all the craftable mounts. But I guess the devs, for some strange reason, didn't want people getting the pandas right away. Unfortunately, they wanted us to grind them. I mean, this is one of the grindiest updates ever added to the game, which I'm not complaining, it just kind of feels inconsistent. The Omni-mount style unlockers don't actually work for the pandas. I know, it's kind of disgusting, isn't it? Granted, I don't know if it actually works for the griffins either, but whatever. Anyways, these guys are going to be quite difficult because of that, though, because you're going to have to farm them yourself. And boom! This is what they actually look like. It's not a cute, adorable panda like I was expecting and wanting. It turns out that they're going for a more realistic-looking panda, which, let me actually take a peek. I don't think it's polar. Is it under bear? So there's actually a different, there it is, the Wayfaring War Bear, which has actually gotten out of the store, one of the store packs. This bear was added to the game a very, very long time ago. Maybe about a year ago. It might have even been last Christmas. And it's kind of surprising that this thing ends up having the same skin or same model as the bull mounts. Like, you can actually see it kind of arching its head down and actually doing that. Whereas if we take a peek at the panda right here, again, we're going to look at every single one of them, so don't you worry. This thing is actually on its own. I don't know if it's a unique skeleton or if it's just that the head itself isn't arcing down. Maybe it's based off of a different slot or something on the actual character model. But in either case, it still is pretty cool, and I'm sure somebody's gonna find this thing cute. Honestly speaking, I wish it would be a little bit more pudgy rather than its head being gigantic, but I think that's more to what actual pandas end up looking like anyways. They're going to end up being in the travel mount section all the way down here at the bottom, pandas. So then we've got the candy Pandie, which is right here. It's gonna be candy themed, and also it's supposed to be a chocolate path behind it, but I think it's just a bunch of poop. Like, this panda is just disgusting. It really needs cleaned, because otherwise its video effects just leaves a chocolatey trail following in its wake, which is very similar to other bears, I guess. And then otherwise the mount itself looks like it's crying and just wants to die, which I wouldn't be surprised, because, I mean, look at this thing, like, it deserves to be eaten. If we end up going up next, it's going to be the Pandabot prototype, so this is going to be kind of the desert-themed one. They got one for each of the different biomes in the game, which I really like that they're starting to do that now. We've actually seen there's quite a few different pony mounts that are going to be added to the Chaos chest eventually. Unfortunately, they're not going to end up being crafted, which, like the Radiant pony, I think that should have been a crafted mount rather than a Chaos chest one. But this one's pretty cool. He's got kind of rainbowish electronic glowing footprints, and every now and then you kind of see sparks coming out of him because he's supposed to be all mechanical and stuff. I would have liked to see like gyros and stuff like that kind of going off in this guy, you know? That would have been really, really cool, and would have been like a big final touch that would have made this guy really, really cool. Now, come to think of it, this could just be me, but is this kind of like, does this not kind of look like the divine beast from Breath of the Wild? You know, the one from the desert? Maybe it's just me. But anyways, the Topiary panda that's going to end up being the one for the Fey Wilds, and he actually has some video effects floating around him. But why would you actually want him? Because he's a weird puke green color and brownish. But he does have very beautiful footprints. I'm going to actually take off my aura right now because I think that that's kind of mixing things up and making it a little bit confusing with what is actually following our character. Because you can kind of see we got this little purple poop trail following our character as well, which is pretty neat. Most of all, I really like the footprints. Like, that's what sells it for me, you know, because we actually have like proper bear footprints for these guys, which is absolutely awesome. And then we've got the Permafrost Panda. So this guy's kind of neat in that his skeleton himself is kind of like, it's really weird that he's got like snowflakes inside him. I think it would have been kind of cool if it was more snow themed rather than ice, but it definitely fits with Trove's theme because we've got, you know, the frost dragon as well, which is another kind of ice theme. This one's got a lot of snow video effects though, and I actually really like how the footprints kind of end up like, it just feels very snowy, doesn't it? Like there's not really any other mounts in the game that have the video effects like this that make it feel like it's got snow behind it. Personally speaking, and this is just a real quick little side touch that I wish they would end up actually doing with this game, since the devs aren't against throwing in as many video effects as possible, wouldn't it be cool if this snowy footprint video effects would actually end up showing up when you were in the permafrost? I think it would actually make the biome feel a lot more snowy, and there should also just be snow weather as well. I think it would just be great and really start to sell that biome, because otherwise the permafrost is one of the most disgusting biomes in the game that really needs a retouch. Then we've got the Panda, which is the one, of course, from the dino biome. Oddly enough, it's got like meteorite, but then also for some strange reason has some futuristic mechanical stuff going on inside him. I really don't understand why, but hey, whatever. You know, meteorite is supposed to be like powering this thing. And again, the footprints kind of end up selling it. That's the thing, is the video effects of each of these mounts actually looks really, really cool and kind of fits with it. But generally speaking, they're not going to end up being that impressive visually. I don't mean like the style of it itself. I just mean like you're not getting these mounts with like tons and tons of video effects like a lot of all the other things that we've ended up seeing in the game, which is a nice change, that we end up getting ones that are kind of more subtle rather than crazier. And then unfortunately it's in the wrong order here for some reason, but we're gonna skip on right over to the Radiant Panda. This is one of my favorites, outside of the fact that it's kind of got this same snowy video effects from the walking, but I guess at the same time kind of makes it feel light in its step. It's supposed to be like clouds going on behind our character, so that's kind of cool. And then you can see also there is a little bit of a subtle glow to the sides and the eyes, because you actually can see right through this thing, because I guess this is supposed to be like the Radiant style of the game now, is kind of a futuristic steampunk robot type thing, which is really, really cool. I wish that Trove would kind of embrace that a little bit more and kind of work on the whole Radiant biome a little bit more, because that biome definitely, like the Sky World, really needs a lot more work. And I mean, come on, devs, give us our Radiant like styles and recipes and stuff like that. Like seriously. So then up next we got the Cyborg Panda. This guy's kind of weird because of the fact that he actually has a gun on his side, but the gun doesn't actually operate. I personally think they should have just gone the extra mile and made it so that this thing had a functioning gun, kind of similar to the laser tops. The Dreadnought is another mount that I think should actually have a functioning laser, but for some weird reason it doesn't. The footprints are pretty cool. I actually really like them, but I don't know if they necessarily feel like kind of robot-y, or if the mount itself kind of feels robot-y, because it's kind of like only a part of him is robotic, you know, whereas the rest of him is just kind of all normal. And even those things that are kind of like over the side of him, don't those feel more like headphones rather than like some cyborg type thing? But it's a nice little touch that they ended up using, you know, video effects over his laser cyborg eye and stuff like that, of course. And then of course we're going to end up having, no, I don't want the rats. I want to get the Protagonist Panda, which of course is a shout out to Mario, obviously, but at the same time ends up being a very weird Trove-themed panda. I mean, I don't know, like, is this thing cool? It's kind of neat that it has little boots going on. I think that that's actually quite adorable. Very strange that it has normal bare footprints, though, when its feet are actually just boots. But it's got, this is just like the Trove one. You knew this would get in the game because the devs are obsessed with, like, all the Trove memorabilia inside its own game. So we got the T on the boots. We got the Trove logo on the side, which, of course, is just a standard voxel. Even though it's like the Trove logo, you just look up online like a voxel, and that's what it is. It's not like a unique logo or anything like that, which I just personally find funny. I'm not trying to like hate on the game or anything like that, but we at least got the nice cap. I like that. If it had overalls, that would have sold it for me, rather than just being some weird Trove-themed mount. I think if it had overalls and was trying to be kind of like a Mario Panda, knockoff, I think that would have been just great. So then we got the piping hot panda right here, which does not feel as fire themed as it should, like especially considering we've got you know, the fire bulls already in the game. We do have some really nice video effects following our character's footprints and stuff like that, all the smoke coming out of the mount as well, which again is kind of coming out of its butt as you're standing still. It does have very nice fire effects as well, but generally speaking, I personally just don't really feel that the panda itself feels very hot. Like, it doesn't really feel like it's on fire or anything like that, you know, especially compared to the firebolt mount that we used to get out of chaos chests and stuff like that, right? It still is out of chaos chests, it just depends if it's in rotation. And then last but not least, we got the pandemic panda, which this is gonna be the skull cursed biome theme, and this one's pretty cool in that it's not symmetrical, which is what I like about it. It's kind of like unique on each side, but it's really, really weird. And you know, these undead mounts I feel are very, very strange for Trove, considering like how casual this game is, and despite that, it ends up going kind of the more graphic, realistic, like, you know, like, what is this thing? Like, this thing looks scary, you know? So the video effects, again, are going to end up being the cloud/snow video effects. Does not feel appropriate in the least to an undead type of creature. I think that it should actually have maybe green like spirit smoke or something like that coming out of it, or something very similar to some of the starting mounts that we actually have in the game. But then you could kind of see through its rib cage and stuff, and that's a really nice touch that we've got a lot of that stuff in purple inside it, which is what I like. And again, you know, we kind of got like the nice little touch on the one foot is kind of like a skeleton foot and everything like that. So it is still a pretty cool mount though. And then let's also look at the crafting components here, just last but not least, just in case you're actually interested in getting any of these bad boys. So the starting panda is just going to be a 30,000 flux, and then this guy is 400 wood. Then the one from the Feywilds is going to be 200 fairy dust, 100 diamonds, oddly enough. The candy one is going to be another 300 wild cupcakes and another 250 fey dust. And then, of course, this guy, oh, I'm actually surprised he does not cost any meteorite. I was going to say, you know, he's going to cost meteorite, but no, he costs 600 or 700 sticky ichor. Also, he costs 60,000 flux. Why? All of these ones are 30,000, then suddenly this one's 60,000. Why? Like, that's not worth it at all. Then there's the Radiant one, 5,000 Radiant shards, and another 60,000 price. Okay, so all of these guys are just getting to 60,000 from the this guy and onward for some strange reason, it seems. But we got the Steampunk one is going to be 600 Infinium, 20 golden souls. Yikes. And then suddenly it just jumps back down just randomly for no reason to 30,000. 1,000 glacial shards, that's really steep. I mean, granted, if you're going for the ice dragon, you're gonna have those glacial shards regardless, so it's perfectly fine. 200 bottles, and then we've got the robotic one, which is gonna be 250 robo salvage, of course. And then still, like, look at this. This one's 30,000 flux. Why are these ones suddenly like 60,000? That doesn't make sense. It's probably a typo. And then we got the fire one, 60,000 flux again for some weird reason. It's not like it should be more expensive. It doesn't even have that much video effects going on. 500 primordial flames, 100 diamonds again, and then last but not least, this is actually the undead one, isn't it? Yeah, because this is, okay, did I say this one was the undead when I meant it was the cyborg one? Maybe I didn't. I don't know. But anyway, 60,000 flux, 200 bleach bone, and 600 eyes of cube Cthulhu. So, not too bad, still quite expensive to actually grind all of these mounts in the first place, let alone try to buy them, and then further than that, try to actually craft them. Like, yikes, dude. They're not my favorite. I think that they're really cool, don't get me wrong, but I guess I should at least say they're better than the rats. Like, those shouldn't have even been added to the game. Like, that's just so weird. But I love the llamas. The centaurs are cool. The griffins are awesome. They're really difficult to get. The shmeep are kind of weird, but at least it's okay. And then there's the cats and the corgis as well. So it kind of feels like a very strange progression as far as Trove is concerned, especially considering, like, this is like a new adventure mount, which is great, but man alive, they really got to buff the drop rates of all these bad guys. Now, I know that we've got, like, the fixture that can end up increasing the drop rates of talismans, but time will tell whether or not that thing's actually worthwhile. In either case, I don't want to ramble about anything more than I have to. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, favorite, and subscribe for more daily content that's also going to build up loyalty points to my merch store, where you can buy this shirt and a bunch of others. Also, for those of you that want to go the extra mile and donate to me for absolutely free, sign up with Gawkbox. Links will be in the description for that, as well as a video explaining what it is and everything like that if you're interested. Otherwise, have a fantastic day. Sayonara, and stay epic, everybody.